I know that like slang terms come and go out of popularity really quickly. I genuinely like the usage of the word slop to describe things that are below like the quality a person should be consuming. AI slop is called slop because it's lazy, it's missing something that effort and in artistry and crafting takes to make a piece of media, a piece of content, or an experience like worthwhile to a person or indicative of hard work that a person has done. AI is not the only thing that can generate slop. The 24-hour news cycle is man-made journalistic slop, and I'm really fucking sick of it personally. I talk about politics on this channel. I've been labeled by some people at this point as doing journalistic work. I've been called a journalist, even though I don't have a background in it. I do not espouse any professional accolades that would make me want to call myself a journalist. But I do document reality in an attempt to tell stories. And I try really hard to make sure that information I'm giving people is objective. And I don't really do the neutral thing. So that's part of why I don't think of myself as a journalist. I'd rather call myself like a propagandist, because we live in a world where the people in power and the systems of authority have an absolute monopoly on the propaganda that people consume. And so I think counter-propaganda is actually a really cool thing. What the 24-hour news cycle is and does to people is an interaction between the fact that shit is happening all the fucking time, the fact that we now have the internet and the communication connections needed to ingest everything that is happening at all times. And then the third piece of the puzzle is human nature. We only have so much bandwidth, and you know, our hormones in our brain can only fire so much stress hormones before we just shut the hell down. I'm sick of the 24-hour news cycle. I'm really burnt out on it. That's probably due in part to the fact that the world is facing an ongoing global rise of fascism, which is being spearheaded due in part to Donald Trump and the right-wing administration that is currently in power here in the United States. You could take two parts of modern-day politics and you could look at them and understand why it's true that there is too much fucking happening and too much bad stuff happening at all times right now. If you just look at the past 6 months of executive orders and the past 6 months of Supreme Court rulings, that is plenty reason to make the argument that shit is fucked all the goddamn time. Immensely, like badly, right? I haven't even had a chance to like eat through like a third of the Supreme Court rulings, and like the couple of ones I've been through are like, oh yeah, trans people aren't people. Like that was their basis for their ruling. The 14th Amendment has the Equal Protections Clause, which protects things like religion, biological sex, I can't remember what else, but those are like a race, obviously. And the Supreme Court just ruled that like trans people don't get that protection. They're saying that they do not get equal protections based on their identity qualifiers. Like that's like they just ruled that people aren't they don't exist. They're not a human. And then like the executive order that just made it so that like you can use mental illness as an excuse to institutionalize homeless people to get them off the street and just put in the government systems. That's just two fucking things. And then obviously I read the entirety of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. There is no strong counter argument to the position that there is a lot of bad shit currently happening in America right now. And those things are echoing forth, right? The militarization of the United States on that stupid military parade that we did. And then you look at things like the state of Israel genociding Palestinians in Gaza. And then you look at the weird behavior with Trump and Putin and Russia recently. Like, there's a lot going on, and I think there's no like denying that. But the other thing about the 24-hour news cycle is that there's more going on than any person, you or I, could ever like process and do anything with. Like it's more than anything you or I could materially respond to and be like, I'm gonna take this action in response to this Supreme Court ruling. Right? And I feel like the thing that this highlights, you know, I want to do an aside real quick too. The 24-hour news cycle is slop because it's based on a profit and engagement. Like that's part of this, is the fact that journalists and influencers and everyone are taking advantage of the fact that things are terrible right now to communicate the fact to people mass, like at mass, right? I think that people like Hassan or like Kyle Kalinsky from Secular Talk or like whoever your favorite news communicator is, I think these people are doing a good service. I think it matters to inform people, but there's no filter in between that allows a person to do something with what they're learning. We have enough journalists, but we don't have enough educators. We don't have enough people teaching people like, well, here's what you can do with this information, and here's how you can live your life given this information. That's another part of this slot machine that doesn't stop. One person cannot do something with all of this information they're constantly being water hosed with, right? Fire hosing is a term that you describe when you start a new job and you're given all of this information and all of these responsibilities, and it's more than any one person could physically swallow because it's a fire hose, not a faucet tap that a person can gulp down at a reasonable speed. It's more than you can take. I feel like the thing we can pull from that reality, that the 24-hour news cycle moves faster than anyone could ever possibly handle, the thing we should be thinking about is how are these things happening so fucking quickly, and yet you and I had no goddamn input on any of it. Like, did you vote for any of this? Like, did you personally vote on these individual Supreme Court decisions? Did you personally vote on all of the shit that's going on right now? I don't think you did. So I feel like that's the quiet part that needs said about this real quick, is that more things are happening than anyone could reasonably have participated in making the choices to cause, and we really need to take that power back, and then this issue would go away. There was a time through human history where things that happened in your community either were acts of nature that were far bigger than you and out of your control, or they were acts of people that you could physically, individually address one by one and understand and be taking a part in the process as it happens. You could actually respond to what's happening to you and actually take part in the process. But now, because of our systems of government, because of the extraordinary power of monopolies and billionaires worldwide, because of the overwhelming ill of capitalism, things are happening that the average person had fucking no say in. And so to kind of take from Hank Green, who communicated on this really wonderfully, unsurprising, I think science educators are good communicators, as a fellow science educator, Hank Green explained it as like, it's not just that you're anxious, it's that you don't have enough information in a world where things are happening far quicker than you could typically respond to. So that's what I wanted to rant about real quick. There's just more going on than you could have ever personally had a hand in creating. And I think that is reason to pause and reflect on whether or not that kind of world is the sort of thing we want to live in. All right, if you like this video, be sure to like it, get subscribed to see more of my videos. I filmed this video because I went to go film for a video essay with a script, and I forgot one of the things I needed for the script, and I couldn't film it. So I thought I'd just make this real quick for fun. All right, bye, take care.